What is going on, guys? Nate here, and Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was easily one of the most popular FPS shooters in 2008, but in 2016 the game is held to much different standards of play, and today we're going to discuss whether or not this game is just as good as it used to be. We'll start off with the pros, and the biggest, most notable positive change for Call of Duty 4 is its new fresh coat of paint that looks utterly gorgeous. It is hard to tell just how great this game's visuals are in a YouTube video that's been rendered through two different programs, but it is very clear that Raven did not cut any corners when working with this game's appearance. It looks just as good as any other current-gen shooter on the market. The game also does run a little bit better than the original, but CoD 4 ran pretty well in 2008 anyway. However, I have not experienced any crashes, nor have I noticed any significant FPS drops or stutters. Maybe they are there, but it's evidently not noticeable enough in my opinion. There are also various other visual and performance touch-ups here and there throughout the rest of the game, but we'll get to those later. The real question is, how does this play? Is this still Call of Duty 4? Did Raven make any big changes to the gameplay itself that takes away from that? And the answer is no. Special attention was obviously paid to make this remaster's gameplay as similar to the originals as possible. This is both for better and for worse. If you're somebody who really and truly loved Call of Duty back in its day for what it was, and appreciated exactly how it was played, to the point where even the blatantly obvious balancing issues and spawn traps only felt like they added to the experience, which oftentimes they kind of did, then you will take comfort in knowing that this is the same game from 2008, with the same overpowered weapons and perks. What can also be a bad thing, however, is that you are playing a game from 2008 with extremely overpowered weapons and perks. You see, what Call of Duty 4 did is it set the foundation for most modern shooters to build off of it and its mechanics. And the FPS shooters we've grown accustomed to have been so refined and tweaked since this game has come out that many of the bugs and quirks that have been eliminated over the years with FPS titles still exist within CoD 4. So if you haven't played the original and are looking for a well-balanced and articulated FPS that plays fair and rewards absolute merits, then this game, particularly its multiplayer, is not for you. But if you are sick of the wall-running jetpack nonsense with guns that don't even make sense and are welcome to going back to boots-on-the-ground style of combat within the CoD franchise, this game offers a very firm compromise, especially if you played the game back in its prime and truly enjoyed it. Personally, I did really like Call of Duty 4's formula, and even before this remaster was announced, I'd go back and start up my 360 just to play it every now and then, years after it came out. Now, Raven did make some changes to Call of Duty 4's multiplayer, but not to the gameplay itself. What they've done is they've added in a few new game modes, which weren't around when Call of Duty 4 was just coming out, but eventually were introduced at later dates, such as Kill Confirmed and Hardpoint, and those have been injected into the game's multiplayer selection. So, if you want to avoid these modes, that's completely fine, but if you enjoyed them in past games, you can still experience them within Call of Duty 4. Of course, the pre-game lobby UI has also been rehashed to include some cosmetically appealing backgrounds, among other aesthetic changes. Do you remember the campaign? Because it is just the way that we have left it, with a few more cinematic scenes added in for fluff, which I really don't mind that much because they look pretty damn awesome. Now, I will caution, while Call of Duty 4's single-player campaign was very well done for its time, and one of my more enjoyable single-player experiences within a first-person shooter, it does not live up to modern expectations at all. It only takes a few hours to beat, and while the gameplay is fun and varied, I had a difficult time mustering the willpower to play it all over again. In conclusion, the people behind this remaster gave the title modern visuals, performance, and modern tweaks, but stepped back when it came to making any notable changes within gameplay itself, and in my opinion, they did that just right. I can see myself hopping on and off this game for years to come. Hell, I already did that once with the original. However, many people, myself included, purchased this game with very little interest in Infinite Warfare, which the Call of Duty 4 remaster is bundled with within the Infinite Warfare Legacy Edition. Meaning, if you want to play and buy this game, you need to pay $80 for it and Infinite Warfare. And if you don't intend on playing IW, you are essentially paying $80 to play a game made in 2008 that looks somewhat nicer. And I have a hard time recommending for people to do that. So if you don't intend on playing much Infinite Warfare and are only somewhat interested in CoD 4, I say stay away. It is not worth $80 in that situation. However, there are always variables within consumers, and if you're like me and really enjoyed the old Call of Duty 4 and how it played out, then consider it a little bit deeper, but this is a very significant leap to make. It is a lot of money for a game that is 8 years old and counting. And because people interested in this remaster are just so varied and it costs so much money, I'm not really going to leave this off with a traditional score or anything like that, as there's just so many different situations you can be in that would encourage you to purchase this game. All I'm going to do is just say my opinions on this title and tell you to maybe look around a little bit more. Perhaps wait a few weeks for the whole honeymoon phase nostalgia to wear off, then consider your friends' opinions and look at more reviews. But as a whole, just be aware that this is a very, very big purchase, and it's definitely not one to tread lightly on. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, please feel free to slap a like on it down below, dislike if you did not like it, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Peace out, everyone.